Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. Namaskar. Welcome to Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. You're watching Soul Connections. Sister Shivani is with us. Welcome, Shivani Didi.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, ma'am. We had a wonderful discussion on relationships and soul connections and how a woman or a man feels dejected even or rejected, unwanted. The same feeling patterns continue, and how a child in the womb also gets affected, and quite a few things. Very interesting. And we are all grateful to the Brahma Kumaris for such great knowledge.
Absolutely.
And yesterday I told you that I wish I had learned this earlier. Anyway, a lady writes to me on my Facebook. I wanted to share this with you and the viewers. She says, once upon a time, earlier, girls used to cook like their mothers, and now they drink like their fathers. It's not a matter of
It's an issue of concern, definitely.
It's definitely an issue of concern. I think when girls and boys initially they go out and they're in love or supposed to be in love, or they like each other, they have a sip or two here and there and drink, and then they have a fight and they feel rejected, dejected and unwanted, whatever it is, as you said, it starts from the womb, the soul, poor soul, it starts getting affected from the womb till today. And finally they end up in addiction, maybe in alcohol, like this lady says, drinks. They can get addicted to anything else also.
It's a issue of concern in a lot of our relationships. It could be a parent concerned for a child. It could be a spouse concerned for the other. It could be friends concerned for each other, because in our dimension of relationships, it's always care and concern for the other person. And when we find someone very close to us addicted to some kind of a substance, it's on the top of the mind. How do we help them to come out of this? But sometimes if we're not aware of the right dynamics, again, instead of helping them, we could be making things tougher for them. Because whenever someone, even if you look at it from the perspective of a parent or a husband or a wife, if a very close family member is addicted to, let's say, smoking or alcohol, or nowadays even some kind of drugs, the whole behavior pattern of that person starts changing. Whether it's their temperament, their moods, their behaviors. So when you're seeing somebody very close to you changing, whether it is changing almost throughout the day, or it's at least changing while they are under the influence
That's what I was going to ask you.
Substance.
Is it throughout, or as long as they are intoxicated?
We have to ask ourselves, those who take it and those who are surrounded by people, because I think the person who's taking it wouldn't be aware, but people around them can see the difference. Because it's not a question of a day, 2 days, 3 days. If it just continues longer, then it's going to bring about a total personality shift. Because what happens is, the one who is addicted gradually starts losing willpower. They want to give up, but they can't give up, and they gradually start losing willpower. And because they start losing willpower, then they start losing control over their mind and intellect and sanskars. Like we saw that if sitting in front of the television, we start losing control over our thoughts and feelings. Similarly, if we let the mind be dependent on any kind of a substance for experiencing bliss, then gradually over a period of time we're going to find that the mind is not able to create bliss on its own.
Yeah, but also I feel when I used to drink, I used to feel very bad because, my ego used to get hurt. I used to say, oh, I can stop any time I want. I'm Suresh Oberoi. So what? I drink now, I can stop tomorrow. And when I wanted, I realized that it was not easy. So it was so hurting, my ego was hurt, I was feeling weak. Then I started feeling that why am I so weak? Then I the more I felt, went on this, then I became weaker and weaker and weaker and more dependent and dependent.
Now this is also frustration.
Yeah, it can go into depression because
Yeah.
in any case, alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah, that's the effect of the substance.
Apart from that,
But what about the effect that my emotions
Double
are
depression.
creating? Yeah, double.
this depression, that depression, surrounding depresses you, the people around you, they also depress you because the way they look at you, they send you vibrations.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, he started again.
Yeah.
Oh, he had stopped it. Oh, I wish he can, in front of you. Whatever, as you said last time, whether you speak something in front of anybody or behind anybody or even think in your mind, that
It's reaching.
reaches the person.
So now with all these factors, wouldn't the behavior of the person change gradually? Their own negativity
100%.
and the negativity being received from people around and the effect of the substance, wouldn't the behavior, the emotional state of the person change
Naturally
gradually?
becomes so weak and he becomes so irritable and low self-esteem.
Now in these times when so much is happening in someone's life, it becomes an issue of concern for the relationships around them. Because once I start seeing the person close to me, especially if it's a child or a spouse, changing like this, I need to help. I want to help. But what happens is, because of the attachment, when I see them going through pain,
I go into pain
I
too.
start creating pain too. And when I see them, their behaviors changing, sometimes the language getting abusive,
I react.
sometimes aggressive, then I start reacting.
Respond.
Yeah. So it's pain, then sometimes it's anger, and sometimes it could even be hatred.
Yeah.
There are so many women who would write to us, this is what my husband does to me under the influence of alcohol. So they hate their husband at that time.
They hate alcohol and the husband.
They don't hate
And-
alcohol. We've never learned to separate the person from the substance.
I wish.
Because what I see, who is misbehaving with me, is the person. So the cause of my pain is the person. I don't find that I need to blame the substance because it's this relationship which is not giving it up. So it's the person to blame. So when I create the hatred, it's for the person. And so then we start moving away in our relationships. And now our role was to support,
Love.
to love, to be
Help.
compassionate, and to pull them out. But what we do is pain, anger, and even hatred.
Crush them down,
Yes.
lower and lower.
Yes. Now we have to ask ourselves, how do we support and heal our relationships? And what happens is sometimes we don't understand why is that person taking to this kind of an addiction, especially in the case of children. It's very strange, but when we've talked to so many children, initially when they started, after a few years, of course, it's a pattern which they're not able to give up. But initially when they started taking
Peer
it,
pressure,
peer
parties.
pressure, yeah,
Out of fun, out of just let's try, doesn't matter.
yeah.
Everybody does.
Okay. Should I give you two more? Which you probably wouldn't have thought of. One is they like it if their parents worry for them. Because children who feel their parents don't care, their parents don't have enough time, their parents don't think about them, they're not looking towards them, they start taking this.
They like it when their parents worry about them.
It's not they like it. Yes, they want
They
their
want
parents'
attention.
If a child is not getting, this starts from this
enough
age.
attention.
This starts from this age. Why children start crying very often? It's
Attention.
only to grab attention. It's only to grab attention. But now once you've become 15, 18, 20, you can't cry to grab attention. But now you cry internally to grab attention. And so then they start, and then they like it when their parents start worrying, because at least you've started thinking about me. You didn't even have time to think about me. Now you've started thinking about me. Now you've sat down to start talking to me. Now you are coming after me. The child loves it.
And God
This is
forbid,
initially.
And God forbid, some children have such parents, they don't even worry, then what happens to that child?
No, but generally, when a parent sees their child getting addicted to a substance, it becomes an issue of concern, and that's all that we wanted.
And what is the other one you wanted to
The
say?
other one is, that's even deeper actually, the other one is a subtle way of punishing my parent. If I feel my parent is responsible for the pain that I have gone through in my childhood. Pain could be as simple as that they used to criticize me and I used to be in pain.
They did not love me enough.
They shouted at me in front of other people and I used to be in pain.
Now I have to give them back.
They neglected me and I used to be in pain. But then they are the cause of my pain. This is the way of giving it back to them.
This is something totally new, these two lines.
It's very deep, because this I've just understood after talking to children. There was this 18-year-old boy we were talking to, and I said, you come back late every night and you've been out. He said, yeah. I said, your parents are really worried and they're really upset. He said, I like to see them like that. And he just said it, and then he looked at me and he didn't know what he had said.
Revenge.
He said, I like to see them in pain.
How sad.
No, it's not sad, you know. It's like, even if we see ourselves, we all have a subtle way of punishing each other. We all do it. Let's say someone's not been...
You made me cry?
Yeah.
Now I'd like to see you cry. Now
Yeah, and
how do you feel?
I do that? How do
Now
I
how
do
do you feel?
Yeah.
Now if I talk to you like this, how do you feel? Now I made you cry, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And all the time, all this while you've been doing this to me,
Yeah.
don't you ever realize
Absolutely.
what I felt? Now you better feel what I felt.
Even when we stop talking to people, you know, even in case of a husband and a wife or a parent and a child, if they've done something which we didn't like, we just stop talking to them. This is a subtle way of punishing them, because then they're going to go through their guilt and pain and the embarrassment. But we will not talk, because realize that you have made a mistake.
Let me hurt you also.
Yes. So we're all doing it. We're all doing it in subtle ways to each other.
We do that even now. I mean, normally if we see people, he did this much to me, I'm going to give only this much to you.
Yeah.
He gave me this as a present for my child's wedding, I'm going to do that. This has happened, and this. To this degree he said hello or warmth, he showed me only this much, I'll do that much. Last time he came to my house 3 times, I'll do that 3 times. Yeah. We have some kind of...
So we saw that earlier, that we're always responding in proportion.
In proportion.
To what we are getting from the
Even
other side.
In hurting.
Yes.
Same way.
Absolutely.
You hurt me, I hurt you.
I hurt you. So it's a very subtle thing that is happening, and a parent will need to realize why is a child going towards that substance abuse. But now what happens is, like you said, that a person who starts consuming any of these things, and then once they get addicted to it, they don't have a very good image about themselves.
No,
not
they
at
don't.
all. They're angry with themselves. They feel it as a personal failure, that they're not able to give up what they want to give up.
Especially when I used to see others giving up, I used to compare myself with that person. That he has not been drinking from a year, he has not been drinking from 1 month, and why not me? Why can't I do it? And
so you start having a negative self-image.
Yes.
But now what happens, I start having a negative image about you also.
Because of?
Oh yes, they're like this. They can't even give it up. Look at the way they're behaving.
Look at his neighbor, look at the other friends.
Everyone can give up. They can't even do this much. So this is like what you said, people start sending their vibrations. Now, the one who's taking it has a negative self-image. And these vibrations which come from the closest
Negative
people,
vibrations.
these negative vibrations reaffirm
That you
negative
are.
self-image. So basically it's like a drawing which you draw about yourself, and then everybody comes and makes it darker and says, yes,
Affirmation.
yes, this is what you are. And actually that's the last thing that is needed.
Sealed, signed and
No,
stamped.
but that's the last thing that is needed for someone to come out of there. For someone to be able to give up their addiction, they need so much love and support. But what do we give them? This is what you are. And that is why today family is not able to play the role of helping their children or partners come out of the addiction. Now the same people, when they go outside to a counselor or to a mentor, they give them unconditional regard. And because they give them that unconditional regard, the one who's addicted is able to change their image. All that they need is respect and acceptance, irrespective of their addiction.
Means that people usually say, if we do that, he'll never stop.
That is the fear. That's the fear. No?
And if I give him a bottle of drink, if I sit next to him, the wife says, and if
it's not about giving that.
Then what?
It's not about
Then
giving
what?
that and sitting. It's just about, let's not create thoughts of anger, hatred, pain, any negative thought about them.
Supposing you're the person who's going to, and I'm the alcoholic.
Yeah.
Can you just be a little more, for the help of the audience?
Oh, it's very simple.
What would you do?
I understand that you're taking this substance. And I understand it's your medicine right now. But I'm not creating any wrong thought for you about it. My respect remains the same.
Even when I'm misbehaving?
That's the only way.
Even if I'm getting angry with the staff after drinking?
See, it's like if you know someone's not well and if they misbehave, what do?
How long?
If someone's not well,
How
suppose you
long
know
will be the
somebody, okay,
next question?
let's say someone is mentally not stable. Okay, and I know this person has a mental disorder. And if they misbehave, what do?
Keep quiet, give him love, silence.
Why? Because we are aware, na?
We give him a lot of love.
We are aware that they are not aware of what they are doing. It's a mental disorder, which means mentally they are not in control. So their behavior is understandable.
You make it so simple, sister.
No, it's just that.
Now it's so simple that you made it. And when I go home or go to another person who drinks and makes so much of noise, I hope I can make it so simple.
It's an emotional disorder.
I hope all the families and all the members.
It's an emotional disorder.
Whose emotional disorder?
The one
of the
who is
alcoholic.
consuming the substance and is not in control at that
Treat
time.
him as a patient.
Is he not a patient? Is he not a patient?
Then they will say, I'm not a doctor or a nurse.
Well, if
So
you're a family,
I'd rather give him a nurse or a doctor. I can't handle it then.
your role in the relationship is support, healing. Relationships meant to love, support and heal each other.
You always are one up.
So if you
You
have
have
to,
all the answers.
if you have to heal them, then you have to understand they are in pain and not create the same pain. If the family can be non-judgmental, do not condemn, do not blame them for what they're doing and their behavior. Your respect remains intact.
You know,
It
you made me
becomes
realize
very
that
simple for them.
You made me realize that I must thank my family for not doing anything and accepting me, as in so many years I've been drinking it. They never said a word to me.
Yes.
Not my
But it's
children.
not about also saying, I'm not talking about your family, but I'm just saying generally,
But at least
it's not only
they
about
never created
saying.
this kind of
No,
a
it's not only about saying, the quality of the thought. If everyone around us, or even one person around us, is able to create a lot of love and unconditional acceptance, not change the respect because of the act, the person will be able to come out of it. That's all that they need to change their image. But everyone's thoughts are reaffirming the negative image. And if still they are not overcoming it, then we have to leave them with it for some time. We cannot nagging, continuously talking about it, going on and on and on every day talking about it will not solve the problem.
They did that for me.
Yes.
They just left me alone. They said, okay,
Absolutely.
he cannot, please, just nobody going to talk to him about it.
Yeah. But along with that,
Lot of love.
lot of love and support. We need to understand that the one who is going through something like this, it's not the substance which is the cause of the suffering. The reason the person has taken to it is an internal disconnect with the true self. It's not experiencing bliss and is looking for some kind of a stimulant so that he can experience that bliss. So if we address that issue, forget the alcohol. forget the drugs. But look at what is the reason, what's the pain in their life because of which they're using this substance.
It's not necessary for anybody to use a substance.
It is always.
Just because of pain?
It's always. Pain in the sense emptiness, vacuum. It couldn't be
void,
a tragedy. It doesn't have to be a tragedy in your
Void.
life.
Something-
Anyone who is experiencing their true self, the pure love, the peace and the contentment will never ever go towards any kind of addiction. Whether it's addiction of these substances, whether it's addiction to television, whether it's addiction to internet, whether it's addiction to people. Anyone who's full, healed, contented will never ever go towards any addiction. So if someone's going towards it, let's address the core issue rather than trying to take away the addiction from them. You cannot take away the medicine unless the wound is healed. They won't give up the medicine. That's their only medicine at that time. But if we all together help to heal the wound, they won't need that medicine. They'll just give it up.
Don't you think I should heal it on my own?
If we can, yes, but probably at that time, because we are in that low phase
Weaker?
and we're just getting weaker and weaker, we really require the support of our relationships at that time. It's this internal disconnect which needs to be healed.
Yeah, as you said in the last episode,
Yes.
you need a helping hand.
Absolutely. Any of these physical stimulants, what they actually do is they give you a pathway to that internal core being for that time being. You are able, your conscious mind becomes silent.
So you are you feel that it's a kind of bliss.
It's not a kind of bliss, it is a bliss. It's not a kind of bliss. See what is happening, each soul, the being, is blissful in its original state, pure, love. But when the conscious mind is creating stress and anger and all these agitated thoughts, we cannot experience that
Bliss.
true being which is the lower layer. But when I use any kind of a stimulant, then my conscious layer, my thinking about the mundane day-to-day things which are creating pain, that layer becomes silent and I'm able to experience my core being. But the only thing is that experience is temporary. And after some time, I need that substance again. And after a few years, I need more of that substance.
But can I go to that bliss without the substance?
Exactly, and that is where meditation will come in. And if someone starts meditating, even the one who's addicted to the substance, one is getting support and love from everyone around. And if they start meditation, contemplation, silencing the conscious mind and experiencing that core bliss, they wouldn't know when the addiction is over.
Today we'll do meditation on this.
Sure, giving
And
up alcohol?
No, the bliss thing.
Yes.
Not giving up. It'll. I
You
mean,
don't
once
have
you get
to
the
give
bliss.
up. You don't have to give
See,
up.
once you learn to reach the bliss without the alcohol or without the drug, so you already don't need it. There's no question of giving up.
Yeah. And
So-
very often people come to the centers, the meditation centers, and they say, if we do this meditation, will we be able to give up our addiction?
You don't need to ask me now.
Yes.
You don't need to give up anything.
Right.
Things happen.
Because that's what it is, because
It's a
the wound will get healed.
It's
So
a
you will never
replacement.
know
You are taking
when you give it up.
nicotine from cigarette or taking from a patch, or you injecting alcohol or intravenous or this way. All through it, finally you are getting the same bliss from somewhere else, and that's real bliss.
Right.
This is temporary bliss.
Sure. This bliss, when you experience, it only increases your willpower because you're being able to do it on your own without any dependency. Dependency will reduce willpower.
Yes. Let's start.
Let's sit back. I'm trying to reconnect to my own self. I, the conscient being, pure and blissful. This is my original nature. My contentment is not dependent on anything and anyone outside. This is who I am. And as I see someone around me going through pain, I understand my role is to support and empower. But for that, I first take care of my own inner state of contentment, remaining stable. I am non-judgmental, and I continue to give them unconditional respect. I understand they are in pain, and my role is to heal with the vibration of love. Om Shanti. When someone gets addicted to a substance, their willpower starts reducing because of the dependency, and this lowers the self-esteem of the individual and creates pain, anger, and frustration in them. This brings about a personality change. Children can take to substance abuse to get attention from their parents. It can also be a subtle way of causing pain to their parents, since the child holds them responsible for the pain he went through because of criticism, neglect, or rejection. A person who is addicted has a negative self-image. Family's negative image about them reaffirms their self-image and depletes the strength needed to overcome the addiction. The negative vibrations received lower the self-esteem and therefore are an obstacle in letting the person overcome the addiction. All that an individual needs is respect and acceptance, irrespective of their addiction and behavior. It does not mean we encourage them to consume it, but it only means we do not create any thoughts of anger, pain, or hatred. Tomorrow we will discuss about our relationships with children after they get married. If you wish to discuss your problem or have a question to ask or want to know your nearest Rajyoga meditation center, call us on 099 99 744 555.
Om Shanti Om. I'm a peaceful soul. Om Shanti Om. I'm a peaceful soul. Ye Dwani Mangal Dwani hai. Om Shanti Om. This